Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your bonus October love reading. A lot of people have been asking me to do love readings, so why not? I'll toss them in there. we'll see what comes up for you here, Aquarius. I was gonna do tough love with Chris, so again, like I said to other signs, spoiler alert: in the future, I'm gonna come up with some sort of like tough love reading, because I don't know, it sounded fun, but again, I just wasn't sure. I wasn't ready to do that yet. I wasn't feeling tough enough, but let's see what is going on for you here, Aquarius. You start off with the Ace of Pentacles here. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really surprise me. A couple signs have been maybe more focused on money, even though this is a love reading. But that's what I'd say here. For others, it's like I feel like I need to cross something here. Look at, and also this right here. Like, are you kidding me? Eight of Swords here, very stuck energy. Two of Swords right here as well. And so, yeah, I feel like I need to cross something with this energy, like go through this portal. One thing I will say about the Ace of Pentacles is it is like a card of really needing to accept the offer. So it's like in love, for example, this could represent crossing some sort of boundary. And I'm not talking about, something that's going to make you uncomfortable like that, not that type of boundary, but, it could be one of those things where maybe you're getting into a relationship with a person, where there needs to be some, I'm just going to say this. This has some vibes to me, Aquarius, where it's like maybe you're getting into a relationship with a person who's super busy, or maybe they want to have a family. Maybe you're not sure if you want to have a family. It's almost like there's some sort of boundary that needs to be crossed here. And we see that here. Your crossing energy is the Seven of Wands, which is like kind of like defending your position at the top of a hill. But for some of you, I feel like some of you it's like needing to kind of like leave where you have always been. You can't make this stuff up, Aquarius. I mean, Eight of Swords, Two of Swords, Five of Cups. It's like there's an opportunity that I feel like you could need to see here. But it's like, going to require some sort of like eye-opening type situation is what I would say to you here, Aquarius. I have a major problem here as well, where it's like, I feel like for some of you, like a major problem as far as love is concerned is not seeing the future. It's like, I feel like you're having a hard time maybe seeing a future with a person or seeing what the future would look like. And it could be causing you some like overthinking here in the area of your thoughts. You have the Eight of Swords, which is it's not a card of overthinking, but it like intuitively I'm feeling this as like too much thinking, too much like future planning for things that aren't even gonna happen. Like I get this major future vibe thing going on here. That's the best way I could say it. She needs to lean against those swords. She could easily set herself free from a situation. And again, I'm not calling you out here, Aquarius, although I feel like I've been calling you out a lot. So like I said, tough love with Chris, right? But I feel like there's a need to kind of like set yourself free from a situation. I almost feel like something is like being overcomplicated here, just in general, is what I would say. And this could be like a divorce situation, a separation, or leaving a person, or thinking about leaving a person, or whatever. It's like I feel like we need to get down to brass tacks here, Aquarius. Like I feel like some like choppy decisions need to be made, especially with this Ace of Swords right here. It's almost like this reading is saying if you make the decisions, things will go very, very easy, go much easier for you than if you don't make decisions. Even in the area of your foundation, you have the King of Swords. I'm laughing because I feel like if you're in some sort of weird situationship or divorce or whatever, here, Aquarius, is going to be different for all of you. I feel like you know exactly what you want to do. It's like you know what you want to do. It's just, I feel like the doing it is a little bit of a challenge here. I feel like this is your energy. He is very decisive. He's very discerning. He has wisdom. He knows exactly what he wants to do. He just needs to do it. In your past, you have the Eight of Cups here, walking into darkness. I feel like you walked away from things here in the past with the Eight of Cups. Some of you could be a person who walked away from you. For others, you could have walked away from love. You could have, I feel like this is any type of change really is popping into my head. And I do feel it somehow affected your love life with the Eight of Cups. So I feel like you're just kind of like in this space of waiting for the sun to come up. I feel like you're waiting for some clarity here as far as love is concerned, Aquarius. The good news is in the near future, you have the Three of Pentacles. I feel like things are becoming more clear. I feel like maybe you could be seeing the type of relationship that you want as well. I'm really focused on the fact that like he is kind of like standing up here on this bench. he's looking at these two people here as well. They are showing him a plan. They're like saying, this is the work we want you to do. I almost feel like this is like you kind of more understanding like the type of relationship that you want to be in. So it's like maybe you meet a couple and they have the type of relationship that you want. It could be as silly as a TV show as well. It's like maybe on TV you see something where you're like, I want that type of relationship. I would be careful of that because, we don't live on TV, right? Nothing is perfect, and TV makes everything seem perfect when it's not. So what I would say here, but again, I feel like there's like a loose outline that you are seeing that would be like a good relationship, that would be positive. And so I feel like you're going to have to start putting in the work. Five of Wands. Five of Wands is a card of conflict and competition. I actually personally like the Five of Wands, even though there is conflict and competition here. To me, the Five of Wands, there is this element of, finding treasure. It's like if you go through something, if you learn something through conflict, then you will become successful. The other thing is as I always say, is like, I think people think they want to find, the one easily, but it's like, do you really want to find the one easily? Probably not, because, as I always say, easy come, easy go. It's like all good things require work, right? So I would be more willing to put in the work to find something like a person in your life. And that's what I feel like this Five of Wands is talking about in the near future. Also, Five of Wands is a clue card for me. If you're looking for love, Five of Wands to me can say like find a person, through hobbies. Five of Wands is really good for finding love through like taking a class, like a cooking class or a dancing class locally, or something like that, or a spin class, gym class, whatever, right? Five of Wands is really good for any of those like type of hobby type things. Maybe there's a group that gets together that plays frisbee golf. I don't know, whatever you're into, right? I would just do it. In the area of your closest relationships, you have the Two of Swords here. Again, pretty much everybody. I mean, to me, it's Mercury retrograde in Libra, just in general. Here, Aquarius, just that retrograde that we have in Libra, the challenge with that is I do feel like we could see kind of like conflicting views between like what our family says and what our friends say. We could see conflicting views in all of our relationships. We could be interested in a person, and it's like maybe your sister or brother is like, don't date that person, but maybe your mom is like, oh, we love this person. And it's like, who do I believe? Who do I trust? Why are they telling me one thing and this other person's telling me another? So, it can be like a little bit of a confusing energy with this Mercury retrograde, right? But the Two of Swords really says you need to follow your heart. She has her arms crossed over her heart. She is trying to protect her heart, but she also knows what's best for her. So the only thing that she can do is she really needs to compromise with herself, and she needs to open up, and she needs to make decisions for herself and not listen to what everybody else is saying. So it's kind of like saying, you live in your own world, and you create your own reality, and she needs to have that realization. And I feel like that's a realization you need to have in love. I always tell people, I just said it to another sign. I'm like, to me, taking love advice from people is always very tricky, but I would say, to me, like, who should you take love advice from? I would take love advice from anyone that I'm willing to also invite into my bedroom. That's it. So if you're willing to invite other people into your bedroom, great, take love advice from them. But if you're not, then I would say do not take love advice from them. It's like I've heard too many stories over the years of people who like regret getting divorced because their miserable ass divorced friend got divorced, hated their husband, and then was like, you should divorce your husband too. Like starts putting in the little, it says, your husband doesn't do this, your husband doesn't do that, and all this other stuff. Or your wife, it goes both ways here. I'm not picking sides, by the way, here, Aquarius. Or your wife doesn't do this, your wife doesn't do that. And it's like all these little things. It's like, what I would say here is I feel like we need to be grateful for what we do have, like here with the Five of Cups. So I would be very careful, especially with that Two of Swords, of like people who are just miserable, who also want you to be miserable. That's the problem with having divorced friends, single friends, things like that. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but I would just protect yourself from their miserable ideas. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Ace of Swords. Feeling victorious. I feel like there's some sort of victory coming in for you here, some sort of win. It's very decisive energy, just like the King of Swords as well. So I feel like you're very clear, maybe, or becoming more clear on what you want. Your outcome is the Five of Cups. This can be a disappointment, but I feel like you need to turn around and see what you do have. Again, if you're in a relationship, I would try to focus on what you do have. I feel like the media, the government, everything is just going crazy right now and trying to make you miserable. So I would look at the things that you do have, not the things you don't have, because you probably have a lot more than you realize. Same thing, like if you're in a relationship and it's positive, I would be looking at the good things and trying to magnify those things because you'll just be a lot happier. The Five of Cups also, if you're not in love, I feel like you need to turn around here and, I always say he doesn't just get the 2 cups. He gets the bridge and the castle as well. The castle represents something permanent. So it might be time to kind of like let go of the past here or to let go of some sort of disappointment from the past here, Aquarius. But kind of a heavy love reading, not going to lie, not going to sugarcoat it. But let's see. We're going to clarify some of this and just see what is going on for you. In the area of your thoughts, 9 of Swords, too much in your head. Like I was saying, overthinking. 9 of Swords. I mean, literally what I said here with the 8 of Swords. So I would be careful of the overthinking thing. I think you need to make yourself like your own center, right? Especially with this 2 of Swords. That's a message that I'm getting here on the 2 of Swords. It's like you need to, all decisions should come from right here, right between your 2 ears. Nothing external, is what I would say here with the 2 of Swords, and especially if you're not willing to invite someone into your bedroom. Like I said, it's like, do you really want your mom watching you lick someone else's feet or something like that? Probably not. So, I would be very careful with the 2 of Swords. But again, I feel like you need to make yourself like your own, mental port of origin or whatever you want to call it. With the 8 of Cups here, you have the Knight of Cups. So Knight in Shining Armor vibes. I mean, some of you might feel like you made a mistake if you walked away from a person or vice versa. Take it how it resonates, Just 8 of Cups, 5 of Cups. To me, that's like regrets, energy, feeling like you walked away from a Knight in Shining Armor here. I really don't have any good advice there. There are plenty of fish in the sea, I would say, here, Aquarius. With the King of Swords here, you have the Judgment card. I mean, there could be some vibes of, like, if you're dealing with a person that you walked away from, you could be kind of like fixing things or getting back together with the Judgment card. Again, I don't really do X-back readings, but again, for some of you might be doing it. Again, for those of you that don't want to do it, you don't have to leave a comment. Trust me, I'm all about it. Don't go back to the past. Please do us all a favor, right? 3 of Pentacles here, you have the Tower. This could feel like, the problem with the 3 of Pentacles in the Tower is the amount of work. So let's say that you're in a situation that you're unsure if you should leave or you should stay. Like if you're in a divorce situation, the problem here is the amount of work. So it's like if you were married to a person for like 20 years, it's a lot of work. So you're like, the thing that could be making your decision difficult is the amount of work. If you have children with a person, same thing. It's like the amount of work you have with that person. What I would say to you is really, your answer is the 5 of Cups. Can you, if you are thinking about leaving a person that you're married to, I feel like this is only for those of you that are married to a person. What I would say here is, I think it's always worth the effort to try to fix it. Some things just can't be fixed. I totally understand that. But the 5 of Cups says, can you look at the things that are right and with the situation, and can that make things better? Maybe it can't, but at least you tried, right? So that's what I would say here. For others, I do feel like the Tower is just like you kind of having that realization, like I said, of like the type of person that you want in love. With the 5 of Wands, you have the Ace of Swords. Again, if you are in a divorce or separation, this would be some sort of victory. I do feel like there's going to be a victory coming in for you in love. With the 2 of Swords, you have the 7 of Swords here. Afraid of being hurt. 7 of Swords can represent lying, cheating, stealing. But again, this is showing up in the area of, your other relationships, like the people who support you in your life and things like that. So I'd be very careful of the advice you're taking. With the Ace of Swords here, you have the Justice card. Again, definitely a victory if you're dealing with like a divorce or a separation or something like that. But I feel like this is talking about balance. And with the 5 of Cups, you have the 4 of Wands, marriage. Pretty interesting. I feel like if you can turn around, if you can be kind of like, if you can focus on the things that you do have, then I feel like this could lead to marriage in the future with the 4 of Wands. Especially for those of you that are already in a relationship, what I would say here is that kind of like looking at what you do have, obviously, like I always like to stress, yes, I get it. Like I get a million comments. Like I can't possibly cover every single possible situation that exists, but Obviously, if the person isn't willing to put in the work, leave. Plain and simple. But if you're dealing with a person who's willing to change, who's willing to put in the work and fix things or whatever, and you can both be grateful for what you do have with the Five of Cups, and I feel like things will be fine, especially if you're dealing with a person. If you're not dealing with a person and you're looking for love, then I would say none of this right here. Too much future thinking, too much overthinking, right? So that needs to be corrected, is what I would say to you. I get it. It's like if you're putting in a lot of effort with a person, it's like you want to know that it's going to work and that they're not going to just leave, right? So what's your answer? Your answer is justice. Pretty much every single sign has had the justice card. A couple haven't, but justice is cause and effect. It says, if you put in this much work, what do you get for that in the relationship? If you're with a person where you're always going back and forth, you're always kind of balancing things out, keep going, right? I think the problem with the Justice card is we get into a relationship, we don't want the person to leave us, so we're just like, let's give them everything. Let's, let's make sure, right? But if you're kind of like doing things just like a nice little, back and forth energy, nice and calm, right? Then things will work out beautifully and you will probably get married with the Four of Wands. So not a terrible reading, a little bit heavy. I feel like some of you are just in a heavy situation here, situationship, entanglement, whatever you want to call it. But other than that, looks pretty good. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it, Aquarius. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your month.